Hey everybody, my name's Carrie. Thank you so much for being here. This is my channel where I get to talk about my creative endeavors. Today I've got some knitting and quilting for you and some finished objects. So that's kind of fun. Today is November 22nd, 2022. We're a couple of days away from our American Thanksgiving, which is on Thursday. And so hopefully if you are traveling or getting ready to go to relatives or whatever, I hope you travel safely. I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday. We are going to just be local here, so we're not going anywhere too far. It's going to be a little different for us this year. Jim's mom just went into a memory care yesterday. So this, just in a couple of days here, we have our first holiday where she won't be there. So I think it's going to be a little bit emotional for his family. We moved her in yesterday. Well, Jim and his sisters did, and she seemed to like where she was. And so hopefully the transition goes really well for her. But it's going to be a little bit different for us this year, as it always is whenever you have a first holiday or birthday or something without a loved one that you usually have there. But everything so far I think is going pretty well. It's been a little stressful getting to this point, but we're there. I have a quilt that I have started. That's the only thing I have to show for it right now, but I'll kind of show you where I'm at and what I'm doing. It's just been slow going. I am part of a Zooming sewing group, and we meet on Tuesday evenings if I can make it, because Tuesday evenings is also my local group knit night every other week, so I can only make the sewing group occasionally. But when I do, I work on this quilt, and I haven't worked on it in between, so it's been going really slow, but I will share that with you in a little bit. I'm wearing my sweater. This is the Bright Note sweater by Janine McCarty. It's a worsted weight sweater with a little bit of color work on the sleeves, and this same color work is along the bottom edge. This is the Vega wrap by Shara Made. This was an Advent wrap that I did a few years ago, but I stopped before it became a wrap and just put the ends together and made it a cowl. So, it can go many different ways, and it's just got fun colors in it. So I do love this. I need to make more cowls. That's the plan. We'll get into that. So, nothing much other than kind of hanging out, getting Jim's mom ready. That's been my last couple of weeks. But I have some things. So let's talk about the quilt. The quilt is called the Atomic Starburst. It's by Violet Craft. And it is a pattern that I have seen. It's been out for a little while now, that I've been wanting to make. And I have some fabric that I bought, a fat quarter pack, quite a long time ago. In some really bright colors, like we got rainbow going on, and it's the designer is Sassafras Lane, and it's called my favorite things, or just favorite things. And so you've got these bright colors, but there's this little motif of different things that are favorite, like flowers, the forest. We've got coffee cups. So the motifs are really small. And that's a kayak, some kayaks. And I wanted to fussy cut so that I could make those are records, kind of a focal point in the diamond shapes. So I fussy cut them, and to do that, the pattern comes with like a paper template. So this is the template to cut out the diamonds. I then traced it onto template plastic. And then I marked, and hopefully you can see, maybe if I do this, I marked where the 1/4 inch seam line would be, and then I marked like my center of the diamond shape. And then I just placed this on the fabric so that I could cut the motif kind of center, or sometimes there's two and I've centered them. Then you add the background, which I already had. This is kind of a medium solid gray. You add these strips here like I did on that, and then you also do foundation paper piecing to do the Starburst. So this is how the pattern comes. So you cut these two pieces out. So I cut off like the excess paper, and then you sew it and it becomes a Starburst. So I decided to do the stars all white. So it'll be white against this gray background, and then the diamonds will be all different colors with the gray background. So, you know, see lots of different colors. So I'm excited to have this quilt. Like I said, it's just slow. These are going really slow for me, and I'm trying to get all of these finished first because I'm sewing through paper, which dulls my sewing needle, and I don't want to switch from like a needle that's been dulled to just sewing on fabric. I want to put a fresh needle in for that. So I'm trying to get all these done. They're going pretty slow because I'm just using some scraps, and then you're trying to fit them in the shapes, and you know, and like I said, it's slow. So like we meet for a couple of hours, or I'm able to sit for a couple of hours with them, and it takes me a couple of hours to do one of these blocks. So it's not going to be a fast quilt, but I think it's going to look pretty cool when it's done. So that's going to be sort of my winter quilt. I think that's going to take me a little while. Although, once I get those stars done, I think the rest of it's going to go really quickly. So the pattern calls for 20 of those stars, and I think I have 4 done. So what is that? 20% done? I'm almost there. I'm hoping once the holidays are over and stuff, I can maybe sit and sew a little bit more than I have been. I've been, you know, futzing around with stuff, and I've been doing more knitting and stuff, but I do enjoy it. I do want the finished quilt, so I'm going to keep on trucking with that. I wanted to mention I guess an event sort of on YouTube that some friends of mine with some other podcasters are going to do on Sunday, the 27th. It is Tube Dudes Live. So it is 6 different male podcasting channels, all on one day at different times, are going to do live episodes. And it starts at 1 o'clock Eastern, which would be 10 o'clock Pacific. And they're going to just talk about like the holidays and maybe give some inspiration on things to make. And there's maybe going to be some prizes. I'm not really sure exactly how it's going to work, but it sounds really cool. And I think it's really neat that they've put this together. So the first up is Cabin Boy Knits, and then the Wool Patch, the Needles at the Ready, Piece for Piece Crafting, the Fiber Hustle, and Go Ahead and Make Me. Those are all the different channels that will be one after the other. They've scheduled so that they've scheduled like an hour, but I don't think the program is going to go an hour. And then you go to the next channel and you watch whatever they're going to do for a live, and then you go to the next channel. I will put the link to all their channels down below, as I do with any patterns or websites or anything like that. So hopefully you can join in. It's kind of fun to join in on a live. You can interact by doing like a chat, and you know, it's just kind of fun. So I'm hoping to get inspired. I have been very uninspired this year for Christmas making, holiday making. Usually I'm like almost done, and I'm not making anything so far for Christmas gifts. I just haven't had it in my brain space this year for whatever reason. Sometimes that happens. So anyway, so hopefully you'll join in on one of those sessions with one of those podcast groups, and I think it could be a lot of fun. And I really think it was a great idea that these guys put this all together. So I will definitely be there on Sunday. I mentioned last time, if you watched, that I won a bag from the Scrappy Angel during the Fiber Hustles Halloween bingo, and I got my bag. So she custom made this for me with this fabric and this bottom. I added handles because I like to have handles on my bag. And this is the Erin bag, and it's one of those wireframe bags that open up really big. And I like to have handles on mine. It's just the way I like things. So I ordered handles, and I've done this before with another Erin bag that I have. They're purse handles that I got on Amazon. I look for something that has a hinge type of hardware or whatever design so that it will flop down when I have the bag open, that the handles are out of the way. That's just my preference. These were like $13, I think. They're leather handles. And then I stitched them on with embroidery floss. And how I did that is I just used all 6 strands of like DMC embroidery floss. So embroidery floss comes with 6 thin strands wound together. And so depending on what you're doing, like cross stitch, you might just use 2 of the strands and you pull it apart. I used all 6 strands of it. It takes about 18 inches per sewn part. So a couple yards to do the whole thing. I use these really big needles. I cannot remember what they were. Embroidery needles, tapestry needles, maybe upholstery needles. I'm not sure. I've had them for a while, and I got them when I was doing some bookbinding. And then I have beeswax. So this is just beeswax that I got on Amazon. Most of the stuff I got on Amazon. And I just take my strand of floss and I just run it across several times on the wax, and it makes it coated, which gives it some strength, keeps it from fraying, and almost gives it the feeling of like twine or something. And so it works. It works for the bags, and I sew them on. You can see where you sew them on the inside because I'm sewing it through all the layers to give it the strength and stuff. That doesn't bother me. If it bothered you, if you were doing something like this, you could fuse some fabric or something over the top of that, but it doesn't bother me. She's got great bags. I love this wireframe style. This again is from the Scrappy Angel. She did just have a sale, so hopefully you took part in her sale. I bought some fabric from her during the sale because I got some backing fabric for this quilt that I'm making, and then just some fabric to have for some solid that I like to just have on hand. So anyway, that was great. I was very happy. I love that bag so much. So now I can use it. And actually, I'll talk about what I've got in here. So my little local group of ladies knit group that we have, we decided to do the shift cowl as kind of our own little knit along. So it's an Andrea Mowry pattern that uses mosaic knitting and looks really nice if you use a yarn that has like a long color change. So you shift the colors depending on which ones you use. So I decided to use a Zauber balls, and this is by Shopple Woolly. So like I just typed in, I went to Webs, which is yarn.com, typed in Zauber ball because I know this has a nice color change. In the project notes of that pattern, of the shift pattern, I saw a lot of people that used this yarn. This is edition 3, which I don't know what that means, but it is very soft. I'm really happy with it. So the colors don't seem to have a color name on them, so I can't remember what I got, but I got this one that's got some like reds and grays. It's got a little bit of orange down in there. It'll be interesting to see what this changes to. And I got this that's just different shades of blue. It takes 3 different colors. And then I got this one, which was like Garden Party or something. The color names were on the website, but they're not on their tags. So what I tried to look for was like 3 colors that would all look good next to each other. Like, I think this looks good with the green. This looks good with the blue. The blue and the gray look good together, you know. So however the mixture of colors go, I think it's going to be really pretty. So we were going to meet tonight. Tonight was supposed to be our knit night, and we canceled it and postponed it till next week. So we'll all kind of talk about colors and when we're starting. So I think I'm doing really good. I've had this yarn now for like a couple of weeks, and I haven't opened it up and gotten into it and started. I'm really trying hard not to start new projects. It's a struggle. I'm trying to finish up some things first, which I have finished some things, so that's good. But yeah, I'm really trying to not have too many whips on the needles. So, you know, it is what it is. Okay, so let me talk about some things that I still have in progress. I am currently working on my Vanilla is the New Black using my little mini chip basket. I'm just starting to close up for the toe on my second sock, but I did finish the other one, and it fits really nicely. So it is a ribbed heel that you increase in a rib to give you the extra stitches across the heel, and then you turn the heel like you do with like a heel turn. There's no picking up stitches. That is my first one and my second one. So you can see right in here, you've got a little bit of an interruption of the color, but it doesn't bother me. And I think with these, it looks fine. I don't need perfectly matching socks. Oops, that's upside down. Perfectly matching socks. Oh my gosh, that almost does match, doesn't it? Okay, that was completely an accident, but it's going to be pretty close. I didn't do that on purpose. I didn't even notice it. So Vanilla is the New Black. It is a paid for pattern. It's an older pattern. I do like it. I still prefer to do sock tubes on my knitting machine. But for this yarn, I wanted to do it by hand. So what I was thinking of doing is taking some of my yarn that I have set aside to make socks with it and just doing a bunch of tubes. Then that way I have that project on hand that I can just pick up. With that, I do it on my flatbed brother knitting machine with a ribber attachment, and I can make a tube. I can't put in heels and stuff because the space where the knitting goes down is really narrow and I don't have access to the stitches as easily. But what I do is I know how many rows to do for my foot. So this would be my toe on waste yarn. So I'll pick up stitches with my knitting needles and hand knit a toe. And then I've put in some ravel cord where my heel will go. So I'll pick up stitches there, put in a heel, and then same thing on the top. This is my cuff. So I've got waste yarn. Those colored yarns are just waste yarn that comes out. So this is ready to turn into a sock. So if I had a couple of tubes, then when I just need to grab something, maybe it's for knit night, or when I'm like, when I go visit with my mom and dad, I'll bring some knitting, and that's good to like sit and visit and do that kind of stuff. So I got those done the other day. So I'm going to kind of play with that a little bit. Hopefully that'll give me kind of calm my desire to cast on all the things because I don't want to have like a ton of stuff on the needles right now. I did finish some things, and I have a giveaway for one of the things. So one of the things I did that I finished was the Snuggle Down Cowl. I had brought this with me when I went to Rhinebeck as like just a new cast on, and I didn't work on it. So when I got home, I started working on it, and I did it with minis that were, it was called a box of crayons from Polka Dot Creek, and they were 10-gram minis. Each one of these stripes took about 9 grams, so I have a little bit left, but 10-gram minis were perfect for this project. I also held it with a mohair blend from Hobby Yarns. It's their Diablo, which is 30% mohair, 30% nylon, and 40% acrylic. And it just made it soft and fuzzy. I will never wear this. It's too deep of a cowl for me to wear like scrunched up. So I'm going to do this as a giveaway. So if you are interested, should I measure it? Well, it's that far apart. I'm not going to measure it right now. So if you're interested in winning this, leave a comment down below using the word cowl, and I will just do a YouTube picker, and I will pick, well, no, let's see. Don't use the word cowl, use the word snuggle. Because if somebody just commented like, oh, I like your cowl, but they don't want it, then we'll take that out. So just use the word snuggle. I will go have the comments go through Sunday, December 4th. Is it December 4th? Yes. United States only, sorry, but I can't ship this overseas. And I will pick a winner based on the YouTube picker and get it in the mail as quickly as possible. So if you want this as maybe a Christmas gift, you might get it in time for Christmas. Or maybe you just want it for yourself because it's warm and snuggly. So yeah, it was really nice to work on. I enjoyed working on it. I just know I'll never wear it. So I was going to maybe save it as a gift, but I thought I'll give it to a gift to somebody on here as kind of a thank you for watching. So like I said, comment down below and I'll pick that on December 4th. I did finish another thing. I finished my dotted rays. Now this has been on the needles for a long time. It's a big shawl, and gosh, I don't remember when I started. I suppose if I did Ravelry pages for my project, I would know, but it's not that important to me. So this is, let me make sure I go the right direction. This is my finished dotted rays. The yarn is from Aaron at the Fiber Hustle, and it doesn't have a colorway. This was one of his one-of-a-kind practice experiment, and it goes on and on and on. That bottom color in this dark purple is one that I dyed to go with it because I wanted that little bit longer of a shawl that third skein gave you. Got threads on it, and it's big. Like, I don't think I would ever wear it as a shawl, like wrapped around my, I don't know, I might. It's really nice. It's really nice. I'm excited now that I've shown you, because now I can use it. I'll have it downstairs, so when I'm sitting and knitting, I can use it to just like wrap myself up and get a little bit of warmth from it. The yarn is beautiful, and I love my friend Erin. Isn't that pretty? So it's so very me. And it was a pretty easy knit. It gets a little tedious as you get kind of towards that third color if you go that far, because you're doing short rows, but the rows get really long, so it takes a while to come back. It does have an I-cord bind off, which I did. This little stripe of pink that I did on the eyelet rows is leftover yarn that I got from Needles at the Ready, and it was left over from my Star Shower cowl, and I had just enough to use it as an accent color. So I did use that color in the eyelets, but you can't tell on this pink because it was too close to the color, but you can tell as it got further down. But it's lovely, and I'm really happy with it, and I'm really glad that it's done. So those were two pretty good size finishes. Plus I'm almost finished with the socks. I won't show you those next week because you've seen them, and I'm just finishing up a toe. But maybe I'll wear them next week. Okay, something else that I have been doing is I gauge swatched for my Desperate Housewife sweater. Now I bought the kit from Cece's Wool when I was at Rhinebeck. So here is the sweater. These are my colors in the order that I'm going to do them. I just taped them to this was the front of the kit. So I'm not getting exact gauge, but I'm getting pretty close. So gauge is 25 stitches and 33 rows, and it used a size 3. So I gauged in a size 3. This yarn is so nice. It's a non-superwash sport weight yarn. It's 3-ply merino rambouillet, 312 yards of skein. So I have enough yardage to make the sweater. Now the sweater's really long in the pattern. I'm not going to make it that long because I'm too short for that. It just won't look good. And I don't need to sit on my sweater. Anyway, so on a size 3, the pattern calls for 25 stitches and 33 rows. Well, with a size 3, I got 24 and a half, so pretty close, and 40 rows, which means it's going to be more compressed this way. So I did it with a size 4, and I got 25 and a half. So I'm like it got tighter with the 4, and I don't understand that. But my row gauge got closer. So it calls for 33 rows in a gauge, and I got 36 and a half. So I think that's pretty close, and I'm just going to have to really pay attention to the depth of the arm, because if I make that too short, then I'm not going to get my arms through the holes. So I don't know how else to adjust for row other than changing needle size. It just seemed weird that when I went up a needle size that my gauge got tighter. So I don't know. I don't know if I just go with the size 3. I mean, I can't tell the difference in the feel of it. I guess maybe the 4 is a little looser feeling. I'm not sure what to do. I want to start it. This is going to be, this gray color is like the ribbing and the color that's in between all the different color stripes. So I might just go for it and see what happens. You know, being that I don't want it to be as long, it could be good to have a tighter row gauge, but I'm concerned about the fit here. I don't really know how to adjust sweater patterns. Like, people can just do that. And they're like, oh, I just threw in some short rows, or I just did whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I got to follow the pattern. I can't do that. I can do it with quilting. I can't do it with knitting. I got to follow the pattern. And that's just my inexperience, I'm sure. And I have made several sweaters, but I follow the pattern. So I'm hoping to get this started soon. Like I said, I'm trying to clear off some needles so I don't have like that gilt, but I might be there because a couple projects I have are just going to be more long-term projects. So that's in the works. Any suggestions on what I should do with this as far as gauge goes? I'd be most appreciated. All right, let's see. I think that is all I have for today. Yeah, that's all I got for today. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching. If you would like to win that Snuggle Down cowl, use the word snuggle and put a comment in the description or in the comments below the video. I hope you all have a nice holiday if you're celebrating this weekend, and be safe, and I will see you in a couple weeks. Bye.